Hey guys, welcome to Dub's Okie Garage. I don't do a lot of Harley videos. I mainly been working on the Mustang. I got the 48 Chevy you can see in the background, but decided to upgrade the points to electronic ignitions in my little Harley chopper or bobber, whatever you want to call it. Not sure what the term is these days. But it is started life as a 79 Sportster. We put a custom rigid frame on it, changed the oil tank out, Springer front end, and of course we had to put the ape hangers on it as well. So short story behind this motorcycle was purchased it from my cousin's estate when he passed away here a few years ago, and he was in the process of rebuilding it, and so I drug it home and put it back together and got it running, and I've been tinkering with it. I take it to car shows. Really enjoy the ride, but it's definitely not a highway bike with the rigid frame and everything. So it's a good running around town motorcycle. So anyway, had a lot of starting issues with it, and I know some of those issues are inherent to Harleys, the older Harleys. Some of them are carburation issues, and some of them are just your points aren't set up right. So I elected to go with electronic ignition. I've done a lot of research. Finally settled on Rawhide Cycles electronic ignition. They're up in the Boise, Idaho area. Really good customer service. Guy even responded to me on an email with a problem I had on the weekend. Didn't quite fix the problem, but through a process of elimination and everything, I figured it out. And but it was really nice that he did respond on the weekend. So anyway, this video is going to take you through how I did it, how you do it, maybe another thing, and I'll show you how I installed the ignition. I actually did this back in the spring, and now it is late September, and I've been driving it off and on, had no issues at all with it starting. So anyway, let's take a look and see what we got. I'm going to remove the spark plugs on each side, and then we're going to remove, I believe it's this plug right here, and inside that is, you'll see the flywheel with the timing mark on it. So I'm going to use the Kickstarter, and we'll get the number 1 cylinder up on top dead with the timing mark in the middle of the window here. So okay, step 2 here. We got the plugs out, and I got my mark lined up. Let's see if we can get some light on the subject there. Okay, so that should be top dead center. Now, I wasn't able to use the Kickstarter. I had to put it in high gear and just roll it until I got up on the top dead center on that first cylinder, and then I could dial in my timing mark. So my timing mark, I should be there. I felt it blowing coming up on the compression stroke, so I should be in good shape there. So I'm going to start taking the points out. Now I'll open the point cover and see where I'm at. Okay, I pulled it off, and here's the new one. And they appear to be pretty identical. It says it'll only go in one way. I did have a little nick on that. I'm not sure what that's about. So I'm gonna dig into it a little bit here and get back with you. Mechanical advance out and cleaned it up with some brake clean and inspected the springs on them. The springs to be pretty good shape. Now this will only go in one way. There's a locating pin in the back here. Hopefully you can see that. Anyway, that pin goes into a corresponding notch inside. So I'll get that put back on. Then it says to install the magnet pickup. And it says it'll only go on one way, but I'm not sure if that's quite true, because it will go in both ways, and so will the old. So I'm going to install it with the pickups, well, the magnets on about the 3 o'clock position. Not quite 3 there, not quite 3 there, so I'm not sure what I've got here. So anyway, I'm going to leave it right there. The old one will do the same thing, but I remember that mark being on that. It went in like this. That's how I took that one out. So it will go in more than one way. It may not be all the way down, I don't know here. I just want to make sure I don't have to do this twice. Okay, so that does go on further. Okay, it does go on one way. That way, the way I took it apart, the old one goes all the way down. When you turn it 180, it doesn't. Let me do this again. So that notch needs to be on the top. See, I'm not fully pull this back out. I'm going to try to show you this. I think what's going on here, there's a roll pin in there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me get another view here. Okay, get a little better view. See that roll pin right there? It's right here. See that? Okay, so I got a problem. So when you put the old cam lobe in, it should rotate the mechanical advance. And that mark, the mark is the mark for the where that roll pin is in here. So when I put it on, it rotates real good. And put the new one in. The new one, once it's behind that roll pin, won't rotate. It'll rotate right there, but it won't rotate when it's all the way down like it's supposed to be. So the problem is, I think, and I'll need to take a break here and do some research, but when I measure, I'm going to set this up in millimeters. Okay, this is 13.44 millimeters, and the old one is 13.19 millimeters. So this is a little bit, the new one is just a little bit bigger than the old one, and I think that's what's causing it not to rotate when I get it all the way engaged. So okay, what I did, instead of messing with the magnetic rotor, I knocked that roll pin out. You can see the hole, right? I'll cover it up right there. It's dark, now it's light. Okay, I knocked that pin out. I really feel like that pin is just a locator pin to make sure you get the rotor, the old cam rotor, in the correct position. So I'll have to remember that if I ever take this thing apart, that flat piece goes up to the top. I didn't mess with this pin because you absolutely got to have that one where it is. So I'm going to reassemble this and see, just drive on and see if it'll run. I get my pin lined up with a corresponding notch inside. Okay. Kind of wipe some of my oil off. Put a little oil right there. Get my rotor with the flat side up. Put it on. I've got good movement. Put some screw in. So now the advance mechanism works. Okay, so I'm going to snip this wire off. This wire in a bind, so I need to play with this wire and figure out where it needs to be. But I think I'm pretty close to where I need to be anyway, on as far as the running the wire, I bought some of this wire loom at O'Reilly's. It's way bigger than what I need. It's a 3/8 loom. That's all they had. I didn't want that plastic crap, but this is a kind of a fiberglass thing, and it rolls up kind of like the plastic wire loom. I tried cutting it down the center. It doesn't work, so I've got to use the whole piece to get the proper wrap on it. Okay, so I ran my wire up through here, up through this new sleeve. I got a clamp there. I'll probably put a zip tie down here maybe. Kind of under the tank, yellow and black. And then I put a big heat shrink tube on the wire just before I wanted to split them off out from under the tank. And then I put 2 smaller heat shrinks up underneath of it. And I'm going to put probably another piece on each side. But then my wires will go right here like that. The black goes to the ignition side of the coil. Yellow goes on this side where the old points were set up. So I think right there ought to work. So I'll just put a little piece of heat shrink on there and get it going. Okay, I got my other piece on there, so that gives me enough to get to the coil, and it looks, you know, fairly decent. Take my heat gun and shrink them down. It just gives it a little more professional look, and you can see I was able to slide them over each other here. I think it just looks a lot better, cleaner. So I'm going to terminate those. Okay guys, I've got everything installed and started recording another video. I might show you that or might not, but reading the instructions here, with the ignition on, you get everything hooked up, plug wires back on, everything tight, wires, everything the way you took it apart. Tells you to hook up a test light from ground to the yellow wire on the, I guess it would be the ignition, the non-power side of the coil. That's probably not the right way to say it either. It's where the old coil wire went. That's where the yellow wire goes. So when I initially did it, I had my bolts centered on the pickups here. So let me show you here. Right here is a slot, just like your points, and it had you in the center there. So within the center, you're supposed to hook your wire up, your test light, and when you advance it, the light should come on at the very end of the advanced stage. I wasn't getting anything, so I don't know if it was my test light or what the deal was, but I finally just hooked my test light up to ground. I'm probing not really probing, but I'm putting it on the coil, and when I advance it, this by hand, it's there. So let me show you what I did. So anyway, I'm over here on the coil, and let me get this up a little bit here so you can see the light. So I'm up on the coil, keys on, turn that, my light comes on. I'm at the end of the advance, and that's where they said the light should come on. I'm going to put the fuel tank back on, and I'm not going to bolt it down. I'm just going to stick it on. I'll turn the gas on and we'll try to start it. Okay, here goes. Fuel's on. And neutral. Keys on. Get the muffler or the exhaust pipe on it, get everything bolted up, get this cover where I want it, and I'll probably check this ignition one more time just to make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be on full advance. And anyway, I'll put it all back together, and we'll do another start on it once I got a exhaust pipe on it. Okay, this is, it's not a cold start. It's cold to the touch. I'm going to try to kick it this time. Well, hey guys. I'm really happy with everything that turned out, man. This thing is starting up very well. I used to run it, you know, the hotter it got, the harder it was to start as well. I just started it a minute ago. I let it run for a few seconds, and it started on the first kick. Okay, took it out for a ride yesterday. It was Sunday, 90 degrees, come back in. Let it set 15-20 minutes, kicked it over one time, it started, no problem. It's been over 24 hours since it's been started, and I ran it out of fuel. I always run it out of fuel when I shut it off, because you never know the next time I'm going to start it. I don't want all that ethanol gas sitting in the carburetor. So I just turned the gas on a couple of minutes ago. Start giving it some gas on the run. We got it full choke right now. Let's see what she does. Not bad. Never done that before, ever.